So welcome everybody to the first Ascension Portal community chat. We're going to have these once a month, and I'm always looking for people that want to contribute. So if you decide that you want to be a contributor, let me know. The more the merrier. People don't want to just hear me talk. So Sharon, I'm giving people a few minutes it's only 1 after.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to say while we're waiting for people to sign on?
Just I'm happy to be here talking to all of you tonight. Hey. Yeah, thanks everybody for signing on.
I wonder if we can do it live on Facebook too. Let me see.
Of course, I do not know the answer to that.
I'm going to try. We're going to see what happens. I think we tried it once before and it didn't work so good. Yeah, we're just gonna forget that one.
Okay.
We're just gonna go with what we got, huh?
All right. You're the boss. Not really.
We all know between the two. Oh, now it's giving me my code. Next time we'll worry about that next time. So welcome everyone. We're going to see what Sharon's got to share with us today. What did you say you wanted to talk to us about? Energy and
like our own energy field and our energy field of our house, our businesses, our different ways to strengthen our own energy field within us is probably the most important thing really I feel, this is just my opinion, for individuals right now, because as we heal our own energy field, the energy around us heals. So working on yourself is absolutely the best thing we can do for the environment, for our family, for everyone. It's just to try to heal our own energy fields.
right. So what are some of the ways that you do that? I mean, we all have our own way of doing things, right?
Yeah, everybody, there's no right or wrong way if you're lifting the energy, but I mean, a lot of people smudge, a lot of people use vibrational sound, stones and crystals. I use a lot of selenite in my house, but and hypnotherapy, breath work, light language, and vibrational sound are the 4 ways I know for sure that work on our energy field. I've seen it. I've gone through, well, we do light language. We know that it works. And vibrational sound works, and hypnotherapy works, and breath work. Breath work is probably the easiest and most powerful thing we can do every day to lift our own energy field.
Do you want to give us an example of that?
Of breath work? Mm-hmm. Well, there's all different kinds of breath work. Like you can use different types of breath work to move energy and feelings and uncomfortableness through your body, but also you can use dance and breath work together. There's a lot of somatic breath work that goes with movement in the body that helps push illness and feelings through you. So then there's I call it the 4-fold breath. People call it different things. For you, And this really helps me get in alignment back with myself. And you breathe in to the count of 4, hold it to the count of 4, release it to the count of 4, hold that to the count of 4, and then breathe into the count of 4 and start over. And that really helps me get in alignment. And a lot of times if a person wants an energy reading or different things, I will do that with them together, and helps get in alignment where you can really, if they allow it, to see their energy field and everything, and help them readjust their own energy field, or show them where there may be missing color or gray area. And a good example of this, Patricia, I just thought of this, is when we did out in, I think at Grapevine, when you had the aura photo taken of the lady, but first
Right.
that never had light language at all, and then afterwards another photo taken of her and how full of love she was in the second photo. To me, that I was amazed, because that was like almost like scientific proof when you saw the 2 different photos with the light language. And I'm pretty sure you could use vibrational sound or breath work and hypnotherapy and get those same results with the aura photo.
Yeah, I think anything that takes you out of the current emotional state that you're in, right?
Right.
Yeah, any way to refocus yourself
Right.
helps.
But just also just consciously, even if you have the greatest focus and everything, just consciously working on your energy field, using different techniques and strengthen it, is just a good daily practice.
Yeah. Does anybody want to add anything to that? You can unmute yourself if you want to add something.
Is it always 4 breaths, or 4 counts in and then 4 counts out? Or are there different?
There's all different types of breath work. That's just one breath work. There's so many different types of breath work. So really you can go, there's where you go like that. There's all different kinds of breath work. You just have to find one. I use several different kinds in hypnotherapy. Just, it depends on if a person has stuck energy, you want to go with heavier breathing than if a person maybe be weeping or different things. And so there's different kinds of breath work, and almost you can find online probably 1,000 different types of breath work. So you really just have to find some that resonate with you.
And so what other ways can we use to protect our energy fields and to clear them? What do you use in your practice?
I use a lot of metal bowls, and I use a lot of selenite. I build energy grids on my property in my house. And the one thing about, and even on myself, the most important thing is that you don't want your energy to become stagnant. When you start feeling stagnant in yourself, a lot of times we might have some stagnant energy in our house or our business or something. And so that's why if you come to my house often, you'll notice that everything's moved around a lot, because I try to make sure, like even the corners of everything, and move things around, and make sure there's always a good energy flow in our body, in our home, on our land, in our bank accounts, in our prosperity, because our energy field affects us mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So I try to work on all of my energy fields there and make sure that I'm putting out the right energy into each one of those fields to strengthen my whole because we're all like sacred geometry. every person has got their own colors, their own grids, their own, and so the more that we work on those areas, the stronger our natural sacred geometry grid that we are becomes, and the more the colors fill in, the more the lines fill in our own geometric patterns.
Indigo, did you have a question? Or a comment? No? Okay.
I couldn't
Um,
myself. I'm sorry. I did not have a question. I was putting my hair up. I didn't have my hand up.
okay.
Um,
Your hair had a question. It was
I
so
did, now that you mention it, Sharon, you were elaborating on the work you do to affect all those areas of your life. Can you give me an example of what you might do in the morning to set yourself up? Do you go through and light incenses and ring bells? And I mean,
I usually do every day my own little personal ritual where, I mean, Indigo, you've been in my house, so you probably know some of this too, but it's like I do light incense and candles every day because it makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I go through a little ritual within myself where I'm consciously acknowledging myself mentally and emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually, and trying to uh, clear. Sometimes you might feel like there's a block in your financial, so I'll work with a pendulum or a bowl like this or some crystals and try to clear that block out. If I feel it in my body or somewhere, I'll try to use different types of energy to work it out. If it's physical, I mean, we all get stuck some way. Sometimes we get stuck in our mind in these mental traps where we can't get out of, like something that happened to us or somebody that said, and we just so mentally I'll go in and clear that too, just to keep myself in alignment in all those areas. It's just like your house. If somebody in your house screaming and everything and you smudge it, it helps move out all those emotions and all those words and things of that nature.
so you had the selenite in front of you. Most of us know what selenite is, but not all of us know how to use it. So I'm trying to get on Facebook and talk at the same time. So tell us how you personally use selenite.
I mean, I have this is a small bar of selenite for me because I have really big bars too. I use it to put my jewelry on to cleanse it. I use it around my house. Sometimes if I feel troubled about things, I'll put it by my bed and on my nightstand when I'm sleeping. And I mean, sometimes I'll put it in my car if I go to events or anywhere. You can almost bet that I've got selenite on me somewhere. And it just helps clear up energy in a room or on yourself, your jewelry, everything can like items, clothing, ourself, even things attached to us. And the selenite naturally has a way of clearing off a lot of unwanted energies.
I've seen people use selenite in different ways, and one of the ways is they use it as a wand, sort of, to run over themselves. If they're cleaning themselves, I've seen them do that.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have a way that you use selenite to clear yourself? We're not talking about objects. Do any of you have a different way that you use selenite?
I've used selenite a lot of the same ways that Sharon has when I was working hospice. There were there was a giant bar in each door. There were two pyramids under my seat and a pyramid under the other seat. I was just trying to make it so that I set it up so that as I got in and out of my car, it was kind of clearing my energy as I was working with people who are leaving, and their light measurements and their are very low, so they have a habit of attaching. So kind of like to clear that energy and just to like it was like my little fortress of solitude on the road.
I know I have, I have a massive one like this under my bed,
Yeah.
you know.
I have a piece of lithium quartz underneath my bed. That helps me a lot.
I've got an entire grid under my bed. There's all kinds of stuff. I took an old tray, a wooden tray that I had, you know, decorative wooden tray, and there's a grid on it of quartz points and selenite and apophyllite, all kinds of things. I couldn't find so funny story. I have a skull that I purchased, and it's labradorite, I think. But I have a skull that I purchased. It's a nice size one. And I was talking to someone on Zoom, and I was going to show them my skull, and I couldn't find it. And I thought, what happened to my skull? The fairies took my skull. I don't know where it is. It's just disappeared. And then I was cleaning under the bed and went, oh, it's on the tray.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what else? Oh, where'd you go? You moved over.
Me?
Myra, you have a question?
I don't have a question, but in terms of use of selenite, I have a mala that Arthur Gray made. Gosh, I think it's been about 8 years now. It's got selenite and obsidian on it, and it's got alternating. It's got selenite, obsidian, selenite, obsidian. And it's a short one. It's not one that I normally will just like wear, but it's one that I use at the end of the day, for like a intentional, I guess, prayer or meditation. You know, I basically will handle each one of them, each one of those beads, and usually speak out some intentions about like, this is what I need to release, this is what I need to reset, you know. And you know, that one stays by my bed, you know, so that at the end of the day, you know, if it's something that I'm still kind of feeling some kind of way at the end of the day, I have it right there that I can work with as a tool, you know.
So speaking of obsidian, what do you use obsidian for?
Are you asking me what I use obsidian for?
Yeah.
I use obsidian really as a form of protection against any kind of negativity, whether it's my own negativity, or external. It's for me, you know, in the last few years, I've had to struggle with some feelings in and around of like depression and stuff. And obsidian has always been something that's really helped me to get a little bit more clarity around what I'm actually feeling, as opposed to staying stuck in that vibration. And so I think obsidian is a great meditative tool. I love the ones that are like I've got a couple of like gold sheen and silver sheen ones, and I've got this beautiful sphere of obsidian. And when you look at it, it actually looks like the galaxy, you know, on the top of it, you know, on one side of it. And it just kind of reminds me that no matter how big something might seem, it's probably not as big in my head. You know, it's like it's not that big. It's just a reminder of like our place in the universe. Sometimes that the things that seem so huge are not probably as big as I'm imagining they are.
What about you, Sharon? Do you use obsidian?
I use obsidian kind of like she does for protection and just to help energy move along, just keep it flowing. Unwanted energy just flowing on out, just and like protection, and just I like to wear it on my body too, and but I use it in a lot of energy grids too. And I use it healing sometimes on the body with people. I'll put it on their body in certain places where they've have like trauma or different things, and just kind of, because our body holds emotions in it and trauma in it and things like that. Sometimes I'll use it like during hypnotherapy, even to let them hold on to a piece, just like other kind of crystals too, whatever they're drawn to. But a lot of times it really helps people with emotional releases too. And when that's what they're working on, honestly, I think. What
I've
about
never been called to work much with onyx or obsidian. They've never called to me. My go-to is black tourmaline instead of onyx or obsidian, you know? But so what about intuition, Sharon? What advice do you have for people who are trying to get in contact or get better connected to their intuition?
Man, I tell you, that's a strong subject for me right now because I've really had to sometimes my intuition can make me crazy when energy and words and things don't align. And the one thing that I've learned about this, I guess almost every time, is that my intuition was right. And you really have to, when you're feeling your intuition, it comes through your stomach almost to your brain. And I know when it comes to my stomach to my brain in that manner like that, then I really have to stop and just pay attention in those moments and listen to what my intuition is telling me.
But what advice would you have for someone, though, who is, I mean, I don't think anyone on this panel is just starting out on their path, but even with that, there are always those of us who are doing work and we still question our intuition. You know, I mean, there are times when I question mine, and then something will happen and I'll go, oh, okay, well, I wasn't crazy. I wasn't making that up. So do you have any advice for someone, I don't know, a tool that they could use to learn how to trust their intuition? Like some people feel it in their bodies, like you feel yours in your body, right? I don't feel mine in my body because mine, claircognizance, mine is just a knowing. It's just a thought that comes in. And sometimes, like there was an instance today when I had been working with someone and a thought came in that they went back to their old situation, right? And I thought, nah, they didn't do that, you know? And I made a comment to another sister and I said, you know, I kind of feel like they went back to their old situation. And she lives in Australia, so it took her a minute to answer me. So when she came back, she sent me a Facebook post, and you know, that confirmed what my intuition was. And I said, well, I was kind of just presuming. I said, but thanks for the confirmation. But you know, so we all tend, I think, to doubt that we're receiving what we received. So where does that take you?
Okay. Like I have that too, where you feel something, you know it, it's just right on the spot, it comes through, you're just channeling whatever that is. I'll tell you this, when something is really like disturbing me and my intuition, and I keep thinking it's one way and maybe somebody's telling me it's another way, one of the things I do is I write a little tiny note, usually that's very small, and I put it inside of my pillowcase, and I ask my higher self to take me to the truth. And I'm gonna tell you, it will disturb your sleep sometimes because it always works. And sometimes the truth isn't pretty, so we always have to be ready to not respond, but just listen to our intuition and sit with it and honor it, really. But that's one of the things I do is that. And another thing is I will outwardly ask the universe consciously to send me a sign. And then I make sure that I pay attention to the sign, and I just don't think, well, that's interesting. I wish I could get another sign. I just really pay attention. Because if you ask for a sign and the universe sends it to you, that's your sign.
What? I know I had one client, and when I'm working with people, I get those intuitive hits. And so with her, hers was to ask for signs, right? And so she had a question, and I think the thing was she needed to ask for 3 signs is what my beings were telling me for her in particular, that she needed to ask for 3 signs, and she needed to name the signs, because so often we ask for a sign and we get, we just fluff it off, or, oh, well, that wasn't it, So she asked for 3 particular signs. It was something as simple as she needed to see a polar bear, she needed to see a bluebird, and she needed to see she needed to see Michigan. And one of the things that I told her was, you don't designate how it comes to you, right? Mm-hmm. And she contacted me later, and she said on her drive to work, she saw, here in Texas, we have it's an ice truck, and it's got a polar bear on the side of it. That's their trademark or whatever. So on the way to work, she saw that truck with the polar bear on the side. She saw a license plate that was from Michigan. Oh, wow. And she saw a bluebird. So she got her 3 signs within a matter of minutes, on her drive to work. But for her, what worked for her was having to name the 3 signs. Show me this, and this, if the answer is yes or whatever. Amy, you have one?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I kind of do the same thing when I want an answer to a question. I will say something random for a yes, and another random thing that just comes to me during meditation for a no, and the universe answers, and I do give a time frame. I mean, I'll give it like a week or something, and I will get my answer, and it's just amazing how the universe responds, and to help guide you on your way. So that has worked for me time and time again. And it's random. I mean, we're talking a zebra with pink stripes, just something. And I mean, because it cannot be like something really common. I mean, you kind of have to think outside the box. And for me, it has to be like really kind of like that for me to know that the universe has answered my question, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And also,
Absolutely.
I did want to say something about protection of energies real quick. And I just wanted to remind people, don't forget about shungite to protect yourself from the EMF as well. You can have it. I wear it on my person, and I have it in front of my computer desk at work. So
I wear it in my bra, but Amy knew that.
Hey, we got to wear it somewhere.
Every day when I walk in the hospital, I've got 2 palm stones, one in each boobs.
I have shungite in everything. It's incorporated in everything. Everything that I wear has shungite in it. So we are live on. Oh, what is that one?
These are shungite skulls.
Wow. Oh yeah. We have like 11 people on Facebook. So I was gonna post the link here for my Facebook. So keep talking.
No, I was just saying
I'm multitasking.
I got these 3 shungite skulls for my 60th birthday, and they are just fabulous. And I used to look at them all the time when I went into open hearts, And I would always tell them if Summer loved me, she would give y'all to me. And on my 60th birthday, she did. But they're really fabulous too. They're very detailed. But yeah, I use Shug-Nine a lot too, and try to put it around the grandkids too. Are you getting on Facebook, Patricia?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, but I'm trying to,
Patricia, are you checking your Facebook during our podcast?
we're on Facebook.
I was joking.
You're so funny.
Anyone else use Shug-Knot for anything?
I use it for everything. I've got pyramids of it everywhere.
You can put it in your water as well.
I keep it in my water too. I add it in my overnight.
Now, how do you do that? How do you use it in water?
Just drop it in. It's gotta be clean.
You have to
Well,
also watch
just
doing
clean
that
it.
because it's very close to, it's as close as you can get to natural carbon. So it will come off, it will wear down in water.
Yes.
It leaves big black marks on my bra. So I know that it does dissolve with sweat. So
It can be
you have to
near
watch
worms
it.
effective.
I make a lot of energy grids in water and even in baths for people just that want to clear out certain things and everything, but I've never used Shug-Knot in the water at all. But maybe I'll start adding that.
I
watched
have
it.
I have
Oh.
some handy here by chance.
I watched a YouTube where a geophysicist was doing an experiment with shungite, and what he found was that the water would return to near base. So neither it would whether it was more acidic or more alkaline, it would tend to gravitate back towards the midpoint.
It's interesting. Yeah, I use a lot of crystals and stuff in energy grids in water. I use my bowls and stuff. Like a lot of people do the floating sound baths and everything, but the equipment I have, I actually put the bowls into the water and let the bowls change the frequency of the water. And then everyone swims in these fabulous frequencies. It's amazing how it changes the energy of a pool. It's just, it's really amazing. But it's interesting how much you can see the frequencies inside of a water too. If you take a bowl, like I have some big bowls, and you put them in the water and you can see the frequencies all changing all around.
Can you tell me a little bit about how that affects the body?
Are the bowls on the body or
The bowls on the body or in the water
in the
even?
bath? Well, the bowls in a swimming pool or even in a bath, sometimes after I set a crystal grid up, I will take a smaller bowl in the bath and change the frequency, and it just lightens everything up, the crystals, everything. And then the bath water just becomes like a really pool of really good healing energy for someone to just really soak in and set in. But in a swimming pool, the bowls just change the frequency because when you hit it and it goes down, you can see it changing the water all around. But I use them on the body too. I'm more trained like to use bowls on the body to move energy than like I don't do a lot of sound baths. I do a lot of vibrational energy healing work where you actually take the bowls, you put it on the body and you move the energy through the body using the vibration. If they got like just different things. Sometimes people just want to do it to make themselves feel better, make their vibration feel really good. It's like getting a massage, but it's with frequencies that are going into you.
That sounds awesome. Is that something that you do as part of your services?
Yes.
Mm.
Yep.
And that's scheduled through your website or?
message me. I really have, yeah, on things like that, I stay pretty booked up. But if you message me, then I can usually get you in somewhere.
I wanted to mention another way that, well, it's the best way that I find that I clear my energy when I don't have access to y'all, um, is I go out and hug my tree.
Oh
And
yeah.
I just, if that's one of the things that I found, that working from home now and being trapped behind a computer 8 hours a day, if I just go out and I touch the tree, and my energy just lifts instantly. I don't, I'm weird. I don't ground anymore when I touch the tree. I fly. So it's a interesting thing for me. But nature is,
Nature.
I find if I don't leave the country and go get in the woods once a year for a week, I can't be a human being. I can't be a decent human being.
Yeah. Nature's healing. I mean, it's healing for us to be in nature, and it's healing for nature too when we're in it. It's like a really good energy exchange between nature and humans when we're treating, like hugging a tree and treating the earth like it's the energy, just like it's another member of our family. That's just the way I see it. So I try to visit nature often.
I know, Sharon, that you do a lot with grids. And like you said, switching the energy around in your home. So recently I learned, and okay, don't laugh, right? Because I'm supposed to know this, but recently I learned about the spirit of your heart, the spirit of the hearth, the spirit of your home, right? And making that relationship with the spirit of your home. I mean, we make relationships with all kinds of things, right? With our animals, with our stones, with, with the trees, with the plants in our home. We talk to the plants, we talk to the stones. But I honestly never thought about the fact that my house has its own spirit.
Yes, it's its own energy. It's its own energy field outside of you completely. Like if people that have come to my house and stayed a lot, they usually have a relationship with my house outside of me, because I talk to my house before my guests come. I get excited. The house gets excited, and so it is a good thing to honor your house that way too.
I think I think I've always had a relationship because we've all talked. I know most of you, and we've talked about me setting boundaries, right? Like I'll set a boundary or state an intention that anyone who means me harm can't find my home. And when I was having clients here in my home, I would always make an intention that if they didn't want to do the work, they couldn't find me.
Yeah.
So there was an underlying relationship with my home, but never a conscious one. And so now I've made that conscious relationship. And I never thought about it before. So is there anything you want to share about that from your knowledge base?
I mean, I think our homes are, because like for me personally, it's my own sanctuary. When I go into my house, I feel like I'm in a little temple and a sanctuary, and I really snuggle into that energy. So that's what I said about I'll make sure to keep energy flowing in my house by moving things, cleaning things, making sure, just checking things out, checking the energy flowing, smudging, doing vibrational sound in every room. And a lot of times, like in the last couple of days, I've been working on like this energy grid in the guest room, because we have people coming in from Australia and New Zealand for the Blackland Ranch retreat. And so I've really been working on the energy in there and building a grid and like getting excited for them, and just putting the best energy I could possibly put forth in that room before they get here. but I do that too when my grandkids are coming, but I do that with food too. Like I always put energy in food, and I make food for my kids and guests or anything. I always put energy in food. I usually charge a lot of my seasonings. I'll just get them and put them in my big bowl and just with the vibrational sounds and just let it go crazy on them and just put a lot of frequencies in food. It's important that we're putting into our body is to honor the food that's going through our body too. I think that's important.
Does anyone have any questions for Sharon about that? And we are on Facebook, if I didn't say that already. We have 11 people watching on Facebook.
Can you talk a little bit about how you build an energy grid?
How
you build an energy grid for your property?
Usually, I mean, it's kind of weird or something. Like if for my own property, I'll just start and start building, and usually I might move it around 2 or 3 times and readjust it until I know that that's it. That's good. And sometimes I'll put them inside the ground too, in or different places that people's. In my house, when I build them and then I tear them back down. If y'all notice, I will have massive energy grids built over here. Sometimes people will ask me to build an energy grid for them for a reason, and I do that. And a lot of times I'll leave it up a moon cycle and then I take it down. So I just inside my house, I build energy grids. I build them on the earth, in water, on top of people's body a lot. They'll come in for vibrational sound healing and stuff. And so I'll build an energy grid on their body a lot of times, but also around them. Did that answer your question?
It did. Let me ask you this. Is this something that you can do intuitively, or do you really need some instruction to learn how to start this process?
There's a lot of classes on building energy grids and stuff. I just always do it intuitively, but I know that there's a lot of Hearth Wisdom Store, and a lot of places teach energy grid and building and different things like that. So you can almost learn it at a lot of places. But I think for me, I just one day it just started happening to me intuitively. And when it happens to me and I have company or something, sometimes it's kind of weird because I just get up and start. Like in the past, I've tried to date one girl and she said, you play with rocks a lot like a child and I just don't get it. And I was like, okay, well, but it just happens to me. And when it happens, I just begin to move rocks and crystals around. And I know that I'm about to build a grid. Then when that happens, it kind of just jumps in me.
Okay.
So someone has a question from Facebook. They said, what do you make your grid out of?
Oh my gosh, I've made grids out of everything before. I've made mandalas out of seasoning out of the kitchen, but I have just I have just cases and cases and cases and cases of stones and stuff. So intuitively, usually it's got a lot of quartz crystal in it. And then from there, maybe, I don't know, rose quartz, whatever calls to me to use into the grid. It's usually really intuitive. So it's not, sometimes I use, there's an author where I use some of her books to build certain type of grids, like the Neptune grid and something like that. But in her books, she mostly just uses quartz crystals, and these grids are different type of crystals. And so when I use hers, I just use the kind of crystals that she said because it's very effective.
Will you share who that is?
Oh man. It's an old author that did a lot of stone books, but I can't after.
Oh, okay.
Do you know who that is, Indigo?
Are you talking about Melody?
Yeah, that's it. That's her grid books. They're really old. They're out of print, but they're really fabulous.
Yeah.
But other than that, I do
So-
it just on intuition.
I've heard people, like when I've made grids for people, it's not always, yeah, you use everything. It's not always stones, right? So sometimes I even use, the tiny miniature representations of stuff like a house or a fish or, a bear or whatever, use the stone fetishes, the zuni fetishes, and herbs. I've put herbs in my grids to represent different things, and pictures, little snapshots, tiny snapshots of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't take my grids to the I don't build them professionally for people the way that Sharon does. And that's why I wanted you to share with people, because your grids are very detailed, and you shared with me one time that sometimes it takes you days to build a grid, because you'll build it and then you'll look at it and go, no, this needs to be switched, you'll tweak it.
Right.
So that's what I wanted you to share with people, the intense procedure that you use to build these grids.
I usually on any grid that's pretty big or anything, it usually takes me 3 days. I set the first one up and then I move some things around, then I sleep on it. And then I just move the energy. And it's not that the first grid is getting the energy all there. The second grid, you're strengthening it. And then this third time when I go in, I make the power moves where the grid just really lights up and comes alive like that. But it usually takes me about 3 days because you watch the energy of the first one and then you adjust it on the second one. And then by the third one, you can just really tell where you're putting in the, you're keeping it flowing faster and stronger and better when you by the third one.
Oh, I have a question. So some people, when they're making their grids, they activate them. They activate them with a charger crystal or a pointer crystal. Is that a process that you use? Or do you just activate them through sound or through intention or what?
I use my own consciousness to activate them. I have thousands of activation crystals, but I use vibrational sound, gongs, everything. And usually when I get a grid and I get it just right, whether it's for myself or someone else, I celebrate it like the gongs and activate it with this and just get it, the energy really flowing in it, because it's its own entity at that point and it's there for you and it's working. And it's like, and so after I build them, usually I do it's like a little celebration within myself, because I'm just like, yes, just like I won something when I get it right. And really, because the grid is its own energy grid, it's its own entity. So I have my intuition tells me that energy grid appreciates that too, because they're really flowing together and working together at that point. It's amazing how crystals and minerals, rocks, everything will connect with each other to do a job when you're honoring them in that manner.
And
Sharon,
also, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I wanted to ask her a question about that in particular. Now, so are you creating for, I presume that you're creating for both specific intents and for general energy manipulation. If you're doing that, do you ever feel like you're creating an egregore?
A what?
Pardon me, an egregore?
Tell us what that is.
When you build a spirit?
Oh, I mean, no, it's not like a Ushepti or things like that where you're putting, an energy grid has its own spirit, but you're not building the spirit. The grid itself has a conscious, because you're building it usually for a reason. A person will ask me to build an energy grid to bring a good flow of energy through their business. They may ask for an energy grid for different things, or so it does have its own purpose. And it's just like anything, like those kind of energy grids and those kind of entities or whatever, they have a purpose. And when the purpose is done, like at the end of the moon cycle or what, everything, I just show a lot of gratitude and release them and take it down. And if that makes sense, but
Yeah, thank you.
it's not like a Ushepti energy. It's not like that. If that's what you were asking.
More or less.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask for you if there's a general rule on how long you leave them up. I usually just went by intuition for the grids that I made. I just went by intuition because different focuses required a different level of frequency, right?
Right.
So what do you have a general rule, or you just use intuition?
I mean, I use intuition almost for everything, but if it's in my house, I just use intuition. If I've built it for myself, I've just used intuition. If I've built it for you and we've had an agreement, we're going to do this energy work for a moon cycle, I usually take it down at the end of the moon cycle unless someone asks me to leave it up. But a lot of times, like I'll build them on people's property or land or whatever. I don't take them down. I build them, do what they, and then from there, the whole energy, the whole thing is turned over to them, you know. A lot of times people will have me come back out and build a second one. Or the thing about energy grids too, and energy and consciousness, it's all cooked together. It's like, usually if I go to a state park, a national park, or different states, and I have some girls that in the Northeast, Alyssa and Katie, and we'll all build grids wherever we're at, when we'll tell each other where we build them, because energy grids in the earth begin to connect to each other. And so I try to leave just like a little tiny energy grid everywhere I go of some sort, just to give the earth something there, because ley lines, energy grids, the earth underneath it and above it, and the trees, everything is energy, and it understands and knows when it's connecting to other energy grids when you build that with consciousness. And it's like you
I know for
in your
no, go
ground,
ahead.
if you build one in your ground outside, like I've done for a couple people, like it's where they go and pray, or one lady calls it her morning corner. It's where she goes and just, you know, but because you yourself start strengthening your own energy, then the more you consciously participate in those spots that you've created or built.
For us in the retreats that you and I are doing, when I used to do women's retreats, I would, not always, but most of the time, I would create a grid to set the energy. I almost don't do that anymore, only because I create an energetic grid of the entire property instead. When I'm doing, you know, like our retreats, I energetically connect all of the, you know, the cardinals, the non-cardinals, all of that, and all of the elements and all of the, you know, plants and stones that are there already. And for like Blackland Ranch, there are animals, and so the animals are gridded in too. But so it almost, after a while, becomes second nature. There's an old saying.
When you go back in there,
I won't say.
Oh, I'm sorry. But when you go back in there, I've noticed this last year, you pick up the energy from where you left off and you make it stronger. That's what you did last year. You walked in, picked up the energy and you made it stronger from.
You know what I love about Sharon is that she knows this, but she don't share it unless I ask her. But Sharon can see the frequencies, okay? Not everybody can see the frequencies. And so there's a lot of times that I'll pick her brain and go, okay, what are you seeing? You know, because I'm not seeing it. So thanks for adding that, because I never considered that I picked it up and added to it. But see, you're aware of that I'm doing that unconsciously. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
But there's an old teaching that at some point, and I don't know where it came from, but there's an old teaching that at some point we don't need physical objects anymore to do what we do.
Mind your
But
breath.
we all love them. We all love them, right? I mean, who doesn't have a whole cabinet? I have crystals in every room in my house, and I have grids set up in almost every room in my house of one form or another. But we don't really need it, you know. But it's fun, isn't it?
Well, the thing about that is, I know that we don't need anything but our mind, our breath, and everything to change in it, everything, but other things do strengthen it. But the thing about the crystal grids, I think, is that it really helps people on a physical level, and also a lot of times on emotional and mental level when they see them. So when they see the grids and they see things, it helps that layer of their energy that a lot of times, because if you can feel it or know it, it's different. But when a lot of people don't have those tools within themselves, so when they can they see it or feel it, and it's on the physical plane, a lot of times it also helps them on the mentally, emotionally, and the spiritually and the financially planes, just from being able to relate to it in a manner that's physical to them. A lot of people are really physical, where I'm probably more in like do magics or energy work more up in the astral and on in the mental planes. But a lot of people, the physical activity of that is very healing for them.
So we have two questions for you. Number one, when using them as far as sound tools, when using them for a pool or a bath, do you put them in the bath or next to it, just
No,
with intention?
I float the bowls in the water. I have bowls that you can float in the water, because my whole goal is to strengthen the frequencies in the water, put in high frequencies to lift up their own frequency. So I put it in the water and change the frequency of the water.
Okay. Second question.
Let me just say this: don't do that with crystal bowls.
Yeah.
You need metal, you need the metal bowls, you need, you know.
So the second question is in relationship to your grids. The question was, do you bury them or leave it on top? I'm super interested in learning more about this. I definitely want to do this.
I have buried them in the ground, 6 feet in the ground for people. I have buried them at different levels. I've done all different kinds of things. It just depends if they are, it's an energy grid for the land and everything. Just to, a lot of times they'll want it buried in the ground. Like if it's an energy grid, like for protection of the borders of the land or different things. So you'll put that in the ground. If it's it's like one person wanted me to build an energy grid because they were having a psychedelic party. So I went in and built an energy grid that I felt would help them have a psychedelic party. And so that's built on the physical, like on a table or whatever they really provide for me. So I've built them in crates. I've built them in the ground. I've built them in a glass jar in the ground, where a lady used that. I built this it was like a big, maybe an old pickle jar or something in the ground. And we did these crystals, and that's where she put her tarot cards, and we put the sting up over it. So it was all waterproof. Nothing could get into this jar. And that's where she charged things and hid things. And you could feel that you could just feel it when you walked onto her property. It really did something to her land that made it, it changed the energy there. Even though it was in a glass jar in the ground, you could still feel it everywhere.
And so you, just as a reminder to those who are listening, who might have clicked in later, you can hire Sharon to do this for you.
Oh, yeah.
And have you ever considered doing a class? Do you do classes on this?
Actually, I think I'm going to be doing a class with Summer Dawn on vibrational energy and how it really works and moving it through the body and how it works in a room. I think we're going to do a class on that. And a lot of times I'm open to doing classes like that. Before, I really wasn't able to speak in public, as you know, because I had a lot of issues around that and just trauma around that. And so this last 6 months through, I've done a lot of breath work and hypnotherapy work and light language and everything. And I really have made a huge progress in that area.
I wanted to say to you, Sharon, so I think I met you like 2.5 years ago or so, that this is the most I've heard you speak in a group. And it is so nice to hear your voice and hear you talk about all your gifts, because we could all feel it. We all experienced it. We just never heard to talk about it. So I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. It's been a journey trying to, Patricia's been helping me with it forever. Sometimes she'll just say, just talk to me. Just talk to me. But it's been a healing journey getting there. And I can tell you, I've learned a lot on the way of trying to stand in my power and have a voice and feel like I matter, because I just had a lot of trauma in me, and I really have worked hard through hypnotherapy and light language and breath work and vibrational sound to heal it. And the thing about trauma is it stores in your body and in your cells, and you're not even aware of it. You think, but then when you start working on it, you become so aware of it.
Well,
I
I
know.
just want to say that you deserve to have all the healing in the world, because you've done so much for all of us. And it's just it's so nice to like hear you talk about all your gifts. I mean, because you have so much to teach all of us. And I mean, look at all you did without talking. I mean, all of the stuff that you did without talking, and now it's just going to add to it like tenfold.
No, thank you.
Yeah. She's like a magical encyclopedia. So we were, I guess I've known you going on 2 years, maybe. I'm horrible with time, but
It seems like
we were on a road trip. How, 2 years?
I said it's 2 years, but it seems like 100.
I know, yeah. So we were on a road trip one time, and Sharon's just she's just this quiet powerhouse, you know. And so I thought, I'm gonna make you talk to me. So I just started asking her questions. And what about this? And what about this? And what would you do about this? What would you do about that? And the more that Sharon talked, the more I went, oh my God, the things that this woman knows. You know, if I could just get you to talk about it. But so I'm glad. I'm really celebrating the fact that you are opening up and feeling better about sharing what you know, because you just have so many different areas that you could speak on, you know. Who was talking?
Yeah. Just love everybody. Love is the strongest vibration there is out there. I can tell you that.
Well, I'm looking forward to the retreat at Blackland Ranch because I know you're going to be sharing stuff. And Beck is here. Beck is on camera. Beck is coming from Australia to hang out with us.
Sharon, you just made me cry. It's just so beautiful. And like, I've known you ladies a year and a half now, and I am blessed beyond words. Just, you can feel even the energy through the phone, and I love that. I love the no words, because sometimes they just aren't.
Yeah.
We can't wait. Just
I can't
another
even.
10
I'm
days or
excited.
so.
I'm at work right
Yeah.
now. I'm at work right now with my beautiful buddies.
Oh.
Kayleen. Say hi, Kayleen.
Hi.
And David. Hi. And yeah, so we're just sitting here listening to your wonderful wise words while we unpack some stock for our shop.
Oh, good.
Well, we're glad you could log on because it's early. What time is it there? Early in the day, right?
Yeah, around 11 a.m.
The next day, she's on the Tuesday. She's
Oh,
on
yeah,
Tuesday. Yes, Tuesday for me.
Yeah.
So next Tuesday is the day I leave. I can't even. Oh, just all this
Oh, my
sound wants
goodness.
to come out of me right now. Anyway, I'm going to go unpack some things.
Okay.
I'll keep watching.
I'm very grateful for all of y'all that joined us tonight. Really, really I'm grateful to see all you on here.
Yeah, my particular my particular Zoom, I haven't figured out, but every time that I've brought Sharon on to do sound healing, we can't hear the instruments. And so I'm going to figure that out one day. So that we can actually have you share with us, Sharon, about the sound tools.
Okay. I can't figure it out on Zoom either, so you're not alone.
Maybe we just have to record it, like I have to come to the house and we record it and then upload it or something.
Zoom has a setting that they integrated into it, Patricia, where it takes out background noise. And so anything that's like vibrational back that, it just takes it out. So it probably would be better if you recorded it because you're just going to fight a losing battle with Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that original sound for musicians on or off. And I've tried to record both ways and you can't hear bowls or anything either way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's a killer for sound healers. They can't do Zoom.
It's good for me because you can't hear my dogs barking in the background, but you know.
I really think, I mean, Zoom is great for everything, but for me personally, sound healing in person is just the shit. That works in person when you have the frequencies right next to your body. Not that Zoom's not, I've just never done work on Zoom. I don't know how that would work, but on your body and in person is really a great way to receive vibrational sound.
And you know who else is here, Sharon?
Yeah.
Sue from Avebury.
Oh, hey, Sue.
She's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
She said it's 2 a.m. there in the UK.
Oh, wow. I miss the UK.
And then Bitten is on here from Switzerland. It's also like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in Switzerland. So yeah, thank you all for staying up with us.
Yeah.
The next Ascension Portal gathering is going to be, it's the second Monday of every month. So the next one is going to be in June, and that one is Summer Dawn from Open Heart Sanctuary.
I can't wait to hear her talk.
Yeah. She's going to be sharing some cool stuff. And I I told my niece, Dina Fay, that I would share with all of you the psychic event that she's doing. And now I've forgotten what it was. Where's Dina Fay? Was she on here? But check out Southern Fried Psychics. What's cool about what she's doing is it's like a panel of psychics, right? Instead of one person doing a gallery, it's a panel of psychics who add on to the story. And so you get more than just one, if they're looking at your situation, you get different perspectives of what's going on with you, different intuitive hits about what's going on with you. So check out Southern Fried Psychics. So, but I'm excited about the Blackland Ranch, just another 10 days or so.
Me too.
It's going to be awesome. So Indigo, you're not going to be with us this time.
Come, Indigo, come.
Lately, the last couple of days, I've been feeling a little iffy on this. Like there's a possibility that might shift.
Okay.
We'll see.
You've been at the rest of them. You have to be at this one too.
And yes, and I would really like to be. So that may be shifting for me.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, lovely Sharon,
You.
for sharing so much with us. And I look forward to seeing all of your faces again in June or before.
Thank you.
So I'm going to end this one. Have an amazing rest of the week.